computerized. From the Magic City, the sun and fun capital of the world, Miami, Florida, through the incredible speed of the NCR 315 computer, Warner Productions proudly presents the all-time heavyweight championship tournament.
Hello, everybody. This is Murray Warner at the Miami Convention Hall, welcoming you to the fifth fight of the first round of the all-time heavyweight tournament. And what a fight we've got coming up here this evening. Jack Johnson, the 222-pound Galveston giant, goes up against the devastating punching power of Max Baer. This computerized dream match is made possible through the cooperation of the City of Miami, Ring Magazine, Chris and Angelo Dundee, and Hank Kaplan, ex-president of the World Boxing Historians Association. We'll be back in a minute with Guy LeBeau and the pre-fight commentary on tonight's fight. Well, here we are, just minutes to go before another computerized fight, which promises to be as exciting as any ever held. And here's the guy who'll be bringing you the blow-by-blow when it begins, Guy LeBeau.
Thank you, Murray Warner. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Wow, what a match. Jack Johnson, perhaps the greatest defensive fighter who ever lived, and powerful Max Baer, who stopped clowning long enough to knock out 50 of his 79 opponents.
Johnson is 30 years old for this computerized fight, but he's at his prime. Johnson was 30 before he won the heavyweight title from Canadian Tommy Burns via a 14th round TKO. Johnson only lost 7 of 118 fights, and that tells you in a nutshell what Baer's up against this evening. Johnson was the kind of fighter who could afford to take a rest now and then. He was such a superior defensive fighter that he took almost everything his opponents threw on his gloves. Darn few effective punches got through his defense to hurt him. Jess Willard took Johnson's title in 1915 in a 26-round mauler in Havana, Willard winning by a knockout. It should be noted the winning punch for Willard is the same type of punch that Baer finds most effective, a looping right to the head.
Baer was a crowd pleaser, too, and a clown. But he was also a great slugger. He had long arms, a reach of 81 inches. This, by the way, gives him 7-inch reach advantage on Johnson in our computerized fight this evening. Baer is considered one of the hardest right-hand punchers that ever got into the ring. He floored Primo Carnera 12 times in 11 rounds back in 1934. Baer is a tough man to hurt, too. Not that he can't be hit. He just can't be knocked down. Baer lost his title to the Cinderella Man, Jimmy Braddock, in a 15-round decision. And 3 months later, was knocked down for the only time in his fighting career by the great Joe Louis.
I guess that's what we can look for. Baer going after an early knockout, and Johnson staying on his bicycle in the early rounds. Staying away from Baer, trying to tire Max, and perhaps trying for a late-round knockout himself, or even settling for a decision, with Baer pressing the fight all the way.
That's the way Jack Sharkey saw it when we asked him about that fight.
Baer would be a bad man to fight. Well, he's a rough, tough guy. Be a heck of a guy to meet in the dark streets some night, because something's got to happen. He didn't have any idea, not one iota of boxing. He had nothing in his mind but just punch and assume a lot of punishment.
And we asked the sailor man about Jack Johnson, too.
Johnson, of course, I admired very much because he was a man that was a master of both boxing and punching.
You didn't say Johnson would
Oh,
take Baer.
I think so.
Sharkey and most of the other great champions who we interviewed seemed to have a pretty clear idea of this fight. Baer, the slugger, Johnson, the boxer.
But remember, Guy, Johnson was vulnerable to a sneak right hand, and the best punch in Max's bag was a looping right to the head. Guy, I'd like to take a moment now to remind our listeners that they still have time to enter the all-time heavyweight tournament contest. Yes, there's still time, and you may be the big winner. Entry forms are available in most cities where this series is being carried from local advertisers and through your station. Enter as often as you like. All you need to do is pick the winners of all 15 fights in the tournament. Tell us how they won the fights. Re-enter if you make a mistake on a given fight in the first 8 fights. If entry blanks are not available where you live, send a stamped return address envelope to Contest, Box 550, Perrine, Florida. That's Contest, Box 550, Perrine, Florida. And we'll send one. And the contest rules, too. There's nothing to buy, and the grand prize is a magnificent 26-foot Seabird sedan cruiser, completely equipped. The world's largest trailable boat from Seabird Industries of Hialeah, Florida. This dreamboat comes equipped with full flotation, a 200-horsepower OMC engine, galley, head, bunks, and many more choice accessories, and is valued at $12,000. Earliest postmark counts, and you can win the boat. A week for two at the Algiers Hotel on Miami Beach, a Johnson diving buoy, or one of the 10 gold commemorative rings from Regal Crest Jewelry of Miami, being custom made for this tourney. The same people who are making our $10,000 gold and diamond championship belt. Contest closes midnight November 5th. Enter often. Earliest postmark counts. In event of ties, a runoff contest will be held. Contest void where prohibited by law.
So, friends, be sure and do get your entries in. If your entry is already in and you're wrong about tonight's fight, get your new entry in tomorrow. We'll be back in just 1 minute with the heavyweight champions of the past and their opinions on tonight's fight.
Snyder. Jimmy the Greek Snyder, our Las Vegas line maker, sees Johnson as a 3-1 favorite over Baer in this fight. And that's the biggest spread he's set in any of our first-round matches in the all-time heavyweight tournament. Every boxer on our panel picked Johnson, too. Only Chris and Angelo Dundee, the Miami Beach fight promoter and manager, gave Max Baer a chance to win tonight's fight. Jimmy Braddock was one of those who picked Johnson to win over Baer.
Johnson would win with his boxing ability.
The Brockton bomber, Rocky Marciano, likes the looks of Jack Johnson, too.
Baer could punch, and he was tough, and he could take a punch when he wanted to. I have read a lot of the old-time stories about Jack Johnson, and they say he was unbeatable, that he could stand in the middle of the ring and just dodge punches. And I'd have to pick Jack Johnson over a Max Baer because of Johnson's all-around ability.
Nat Fleischer, publisher, Ring Magazine, and the man who established the all-time rankings of heavyweights, doesn't think highly of Max Baer at all, and he told us why.
Max Baer was what you would call a comedy fighter. He was a man who did not take his work too seriously, and as a result of that, he failed to reach the top.
All right, Baer could hit, though, couldn't he?
Baer could hit. Baer was a very powerful hitter, and if it weren't for his playboy tactics, would undoubtedly have gotten into the first 10 of all greats.
What about Johnson?
In my all-time greats, I named Jack Johnson as the number one man. He was a man who was able to stop a punch with one hand, with his left hand, and quickly counter with the right. He lacked only one thing of the truly great man, and that was tremendous hitting power.
How would you see a fight between Baer and Johnson going?
Jack Johnson would have stopped Baer. He would, to use the vernacular time, he would have murdered Baer.
Another great old-timer, Jess Willard, also put Max Baer down as a clown.
Well, he done pretty good. He wasn't so bad. He was a great clown. I think he's a better clown than he was a fighter.
How about Jack Johnson?
Well, Jack's was a very clever fella, and he never took no punches or never got beat up either. He kept clear away from these fellas that's supposed to be great punchers, you know. I was in the ring with him 2 hours. I know him pretty well. He's very cutting, very cutting.
Could he hit pretty good?
Yes, he could do everything. He had everything. He had a good left hand. He had a good right hand uppercut. He had everything indeed it was necessary for a fighter to have.
How would you picture a fight between Max Baer and Jack Johnson going?
Max Baer, Jack Jack Johnson could beat all them fellas. Sure, and quick.
Guy, there's one thing certain. Jess Willard should certainly be among the men most qualified to talk about Jack Johnson.
Right you are, Murray. And we'll be right back with Joe Lewis's theories about tonight's fight.
We asked Joe Lewis what he thought about tonight's fight.
It would have been a great fight, but from Blackburn, my trainer, who knows Johnson very well, it'd probably been a bad fight to watch because Johnson, is a defensive fighter, and he don't come to you as much, and Baer do a lot of walking around the ring and everything, so it's probably been a bad fight to watch.
How do you think it would come out?
I'd have to pick Johnson, I mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And so the great Joe Lewis also picks Jack Johnson to defeat Baer tonight.
Our dream referee, Ruby Goldstein, entering the ring, came in just moments ago, setting up the stir in this jam-packed room as people looked toward the dressing room aisles for the first glimpse of these two great heavyweight battlers, Baer and Johnson. For just a few moments, will be locked in computerized battle for the all-time title. Angelo Dundee, one of the world's leading manager trainers, gives good reason for his views.
Max Baer, I'd have to say, was one of the most thrilling fighters I ever saw. I thought he was a good fighter. All I saw of Jack Johnson was movies. Jack Johnson, to me, was a straight, stand-up fella. I was amazed to hear he was not as big as I thought he was. I thought he was around 6'5", 6'6".
Barely over 6
He's
feet.
barely over 6 foot. I think Max Baer's going to be able to reach him. Max Baer was a bona fide giant of a man, big man, and he could hurt you with punches. Now, I don't see him picking punches up in midair. I don't see him messing around Baer because he don't move that much.
Jack Kearns Jr., the son of the great fight manager who led Jack Dempsey to his many victories, grew up around boxing and almost never misses a fight. We talked to him about Max Baer and what he's heard about him or knows about him.
That he was a clown. A great fighter, but a clown. Maxie Baer was a very good puncher. He never took anything seriously, though. His training, nothing. Maxie could have probably been a much better fighter than he was. He wouldn't pay any attention to his cornermen, his trainers, or anyone. Maxie would go out and fight. And he knew nothing except to walk in and punch. And he was a great puncher, Maxie was. Jack Johnson would take Baer. Boxing.
Points.
Of course, he could knock him out, too. Johnson was well, my father felt that Jack Johnson was the greatest heavyweight of all time. Strictly, not from what he did, but from untapped potential. Jack Johnson originated the feint. When I say this now, I have to say it relative to time and place. But you see, Jack Johnson at that time taught himself and learned everything on his own.
Now, let's check the scene. Both fighters have come into the ring. Jack Johnson surrounded by Morris Hart, Johnny Connors, Alec McLean is there, and Sam Fitzpatrick. Abe Aarons and some others, all of whom are directly involved in his management, all around him. Ruby Goldstein, our mythical referee, and a man who's been the third man in the ring at some of the greatest fights in history. Here's Max Baer, back turned to the ring, clowning with some friends in the crowd, a big grin on his handsome face. Both men looking in great shape. Ansel Hoffman, his longtime friend and manager. He's got his arm around Max's shoulder, whispering to the big man from Omaha, who seems to be really looking forward to the action tonight. Now just a quick recap of these men's vital statistics. Baer has racked up 50 knockouts in 79 fights. Comes into the ring tonight at 30 years of age. In his long ring career, lost only twice via the knockout route. Jack Johnson spanned the almost unbelievable period from 1897 to 1928. 31 years. In that time, fought 112 times, knocked out 42 of his opponents, was KO'd only 5 times, and presents a really tough match for Max Baer tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, our ring announcer Paul Berman has climbed into the ring. He signals for silence. Now let's go ring center for Paul Berman. Now, as Ruby Goldstein calls the fighters to the center of our dream ring for their final instructions, we'll be back in just a moment for the start of this computerized match.
Baer and Johnson both on their feet. Johnson impassive, face expressionless. Max Baer smiling. Both big men. Baer having the edge in size. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Thank you, Murray Warner. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Johnson and Max Baer together finally. Here is Jack Johnson, the Galveston Giant, to the center of the ring. First, the guards are up. The left hand extended, crooked, but not held too high. Right at the waist, but moving up and down, constantly moving up and down, and guarding very large territory. Max sends the testing jab to the face. Johnson parries the blow. Just shooting that long mid of his out to deflect it. That's about all. It moved it downward. Now Johnson sends his right up, ready to guard the chin, but Max makes no further move whatever. Big Max Baer leading, circles. Now Johnson circles with him, the left hand churning in front of Baer's chin again. And Baer again jabs at the head. Johnson returns the jab, but his lands, and Johnson puts a soft right to the body, putting Baer on immediate notice that Mr. Johnson thinks in terms of the double counter at least. Ruby Goldstein is the dream referee in all of these fights, and though he is not small, you wonder how is he going to move these giants around. Now off to the right a little bit. Jack Johnson, the immortal Galveston Giant, takes the half-step jerky motion forward as if to throw the right. Baer jumps back, guard up at all points. Everybody cautious in there, including the referee. Johnson continues to move to his left mainly. There is a left to the face by Johnson. Baer sends a good right to the body. That is the first ace of the match, and Johnson fires a good straight right to the head of Max Baer, but it doesn't faze the Max at all. Johnson pulls back. Baer a little bit more confidently. Hooks to the head. It is blocked by Johnson. And Jack, looking shiny and conditioned, hooks his own right hand to the head and dances off to the left very swiftly. Baer makes a step of a move. Doesn't go. Johnson comes back into range, jabs a left, and Baer hooks hard to the head and hooks right to the head, stinging Johnson, who makes a very pretty picture, tapping to his left in a little dance step. Baer follows, hooking again to the head. Johnson hooks back to the head with a left hand, and these giants are punishing the top pieces as if they were wearing helmets. Baer's condition will be a large factor, of course, and it has always been so. When he's good, very good. When he's bad, forget it. Max Baer trying a jab, misses another left jab, takes a jab on the face, and goes to tie up the Galveston Giant, who is not large by modern heavyweight standards. Coming out of the clinch, Max Baer fakes his right. Johnson springs back. Baer hooks a hard left to the body. Johnson momentarily off guard, receives another hard left to the body and hard right to the midsection from Baer, and then Baer, having scored, retreats half a step. Johnson takes a short jump forward, hooks the head hard, seconds remaining. Baer swings wildly for the midsection, landing a good left. Johnson hooks hard to the head, crosses the right. Baer on the move. At the bell.
Jack Johnson found out about Baer's punching power in round one, and we can expect he'll be careful to try to stay away from those solid shots for the rest of the fight. There's the bell and Guy LeBeau.
Thank you, Murray Warner. Round two, and immediately Max Baer comes out failing at the head, but Jack Johnson has too many wings going, and he immediately ties up the big man. Johnson is a superior defensive fighter. Max Baer, poor but durable. Now out at the center of the ring, Baer in a classic-looking fighter stance. Johnson moving out more slowly now, back off the clinch. Here is a sneak hook to the head, from which Baer falls back. Johnson takes a step towards him. Baer moves back again, both hands ready at the guards. Baer moves to his right. Johnson scores with a jab. Here's another left jab by Jack Johnson, and when he recoils from jabbing, he moves his hands around at their static positions like pistons churning. Baer shoots a jab. It's only a feint. There is a straight right to the body as he fires from a deep crouch this time and under Johnson's left hand. Johnson's hand had sprung to meet the jab. Baer following now, hooks a hard right to the body. Johnson moves straight backward, and he catches Baer's jab at the elbow and stops Max's right cross in midair with the hand out and palm upright. There's a maneuver you won't see too often, and it is traditional for Jack Johnson, and he dances away. Out in the center of the ring again, Baer, feinting, chin tucked in, loops a hard left to the head. Johnson is back with a hard hook to the head. Johnson, with strength from the elbow, does not need too much room to fire up a strong hook. Baer swinging to his left, hooks a beautiful left hand to the head, and Johnson on the carousel hooking with him, and they're both even on the giving and the getting. Johnson catches the next left on his shoulder, doesn't return as Baer stands ready with the cocked right, and Johnson dances a little to the left and stops. Baer ready to close the firing range up tight, then is foot tangled as Johnson pitches forward, throwing left jab and right to the head in pretty style, and Johnson speeds up, trying left to the body with shoulder dipped down. Here's Max with the counter right cock, but takes a straight right to the face from Johnson and rolls into the clinch, beaten at least in this fast chess game of it's my move now. Referee Ruby Goldstein is appreciating, I think, the thoughtful boxing between the two great pros in what, at least for Max Baer, has been the testing area. Just how far can he go with Jack Johnson in his free winging style? And what can he expect? The answer is now here. The computer's saying the attack will have to be fast and sustained. Johnson definitely thinks two moves up front. Baer out of the clinch. Lifts the left to the body. Fires a right to the body. Johnson blocks. Johnson hooks lightly to the head. Baer wins the body again hard. Seconds remaining. Takes a jab at the chin. Whips another good left to the midsection. Johnson scores with another jab at the face. And they go into another clinch right over the mic at the bell.
Not much chance taking in round two as both these men are being careful. Neither Baer or Johnson is marked. Both look unhurt and fresh and really untested. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Okay, Murray. Baer is out fast. He rushes directly to Jack Johnson, and Jack folds his extended hand in like an accordion, giving a little at the arches, falling back. Max pounds hard at the body with the left, and the right seeks out the ear of Jack Johnson. But with Johnson skidding right, Baer loses effectiveness, even though the blow does land. Johnson, moving back to the fray, sends a haymaker to Baer's head with the left, and Max has got his head down. Luckily, it goes sailing above, and you can hear the whish and feel the whoop right here. Baer again shoots a right under the heart. Again, it's a right blow. And then rushes in and grapples with the Galveston Giant, and that takes a little doing, even though he tops him by more than 2 inches. Jack Johnson gets his big gloves inside of Baer's elbow and tries to push him off, but Baer keeps bullying, rubbing a shoulder to the nose, a shoulder to the eye, and they move into a clinch. Referee Goldstein comes to break them up, and again, Baer fires a left to the head, a right to the body, but again, Johnson returning a left to the head, moves in, and they tie each up solidly. And now, they try to push each other off before Goldstein can get to the picture, and look at this, they stand there, pushing like a couple of football linemen at training camp, anxious to get back for the luncheon session. And it takes a great deal of courage, believe you me, for Ruby Goldstein to get between them, but he's got to earn his check. Out of the clinch again, and this time off to the side. Jack Johnson jabs at Max's head, moves back, jabs again. Misses. Max leaps past the next jab, headed for his nose, and hammers left and right to the head, and Johnson plops his own right hard to the body. And here is a left uppercut popping to the chin of Max Baer. But Max, unperturbed, keeps the whacking at the head going, lands left and right once more. Johnson gets the gloves up, puts a straight right to the mouth. It is not hard. Baer misses a left hook to the head, and they dance back from each other to take a breath and for the brief respite. Johnson again now forward swiftly, catches Max unawares. What a beautiful leap. Here's the left jab stabbed in, and here's the right uppercut as Johnson then dips neatly to the right, and Max's counter fired at the head, misses. Max seeks the clinch. He feels silly, and his opponent offers no objection as they close. They're right over at the neutral corner to my right. Ruby Goldstein speeds over there to take them apart. And Max Baer on the break takes advantage of the break. At the split up, here's a left to the head. Johnson is moving instead of blocking, and a right lands hard on his head as well. They're following the advantage, and they clinch again as Johnson ties him up. Goldstein here to break the tie-up and keep the action flowing. Coming out, Johnson seeks to land first. He fires a left hook to the body. Max is waiting. There is the good straight right, hard and true to the head. Johnson has felt the full wallop. It is hard, and in wobbly fashion reaches for Max at the bell.
No question about Baer picking up that last round as Johnson felt those solid rights to the head clear down to his toes. He was hurt at the bell, but looks okay now. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
This is round 4. Jack Johnson has discovered that his offense at the body of Max can only bring him mows to the head. Max has been hard on him with loops to the head in the previous round. Baer out more quickly for this round. Out at the center of the ring, Jack Johnson fakes at the body. Max cocks at the head, but Johnson puts the jab into his kisser, and Max dances back again, realizing the whole thing was a fake. Again out in the center of the ring, Johnson bobbing up and down. Baer hooks a good left to the head and hard, and drives straight at the head with a right and scores. And Johnson then parries a left to the head, misses his own soft right to the body, and dancing away hooks lightly to the head. Baer starts to follow, but Johnson is too far out of range, moving so swiftly. In fact, so far, we're just going to have to stand here waiting for him to come back. If Baer is the stronger between the two, this will be a consideration marker as the NCR computer calculates Baer and Johnson before our eyes and this match comes alive. Max Baer lashing out a left at the head, pumps to the body. Johnson falls in, pillows the blow against the arm. Johnson ties Baer tightly, and it is a good solid clinch. Referee Ruby Goldstein coming in to break them up. And I can see Johnson as he leans over Baer's dipped shoulder right over my microphone. His mouthpiece is out. And it's a gold-toothed look that I'm looking at, not a smile, because Johnson is open-mouthedly responding to Baer's working on the ribs. But Baer, while landing, is not hurting as Johnson defends inside with fine skill. Now Goldstein does indeed drag him out to the center of the ring, and they're at it once again. Jack Johnson moving backward, tests the 1-2 on Baer. And he jabs and crosses to the mouth. And once more, he left jabs and crosses to the mouth. And before Baer can get set, Johnson is back in at the face. 1 and 2, and nothing heavy, though, is being launched. And again, left jab, right cross by Jack Johnson. And he depends upon split-second timing on his part and off split-second timing on Max's part to give him the advantage. Max, now taking, goes into a deep crouch, and Johnson dances backward from it. Max moves forward, half steps at a time, hand at the left, not too extended. Max seems launched at the body. He tries a soft right to the ribs. Johnson arching back on his right foot, then follows with a quick combination to the jaw, and Max loops a good hard left to the head. And once more, as Johnson moves towards his left, Max goes to the left lane, gun again, and pow! There is a hard left to the jaw of Johnson. Here is a good straight right to the face of Johnson, and Max is hurting the Galveston Giant again, who seeks to tie him up and does right over our microphone. Ruby Goldstein speeds to break them up and does, and immediately Max Baer wants back to the offense and charges, but there's the bell.
Baer seems to be getting to Johnson in the latter part of the rounds. Johnson's landing but lightly, while Baer seems to be scoring with the heavier artillery. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Round 5, Max Baer and Jack Johnson, the immortal innovator of so many artistries in the ring. But Baer's modern punching speed and power, plus good faking, have kept him from opening up. Johnson is now at his classic style, not moving much until having to. The resemblance to Cassius Clay in style is uncanny. Johnson is now at long stride. Max circling in little half steps to the left, and Johnson pivots with him like a basketball player who can't move or he would commit a walking foul. Johnson now has both hands swinging up and down in front of his face, trying to confuse Max. Max feints again, throws a light right to the body. Johnson swings back but doesn't give up that spot to which his pivot foot is locked in. Baer leads with the left, puts a light left there, and from the same position, Johnson with fresh speed conks him hard on the face, and Max loses footing temporarily, and he didn't expect that. Now he smiles and bows at Jack Johnson. Okay, now we know it's Baer in the ring, but at that, Jack Johnson is unmoved by the histrionics. Baer moves toward the body. Johnson springs back. Baer makes no thrust. Baer, back at his stance, moves at the body again on the right side. The Galveston Giant closes up the lane, but Baer does land the right softly, and Johnson puts a light right to the body. Johnson dancing away, puts left and right to the mouth, knocks a right at the body, jabs and crosses again to Baer's mouth. These are Johnson's speediest moments of the fight. Jack dances back, but Baer takes the offense. He hooks the head in hard, and Johnson hooks right back, swinging to his left. Baer again forces the left hard at the head, and Johnson faking at the right, loops a hard left to the head. And these guys are really chess moving out there. Baer, a quick right to the face. Johnson to the clinch, and at the Stravia exchange, they have been beautiful and about even. Ruby Goldstein into the huddle to break them up, and the crowd is becoming absorbed together with your announcer in the chess game out there. Baer has apparently been well schooled on Johnson, and Johnson, a master at study of his opponents before or during the fight, of course, is in fine self-control. And I must imagine that the urge for Johnson and Baer to rip all throttles wide open must be enormous. And yet neither, except Baer briefly, went to the big attack. On the break, Johnson moving briskly, jabs and crosses to the face. Once more, Johnson with a left jab to the face, across to the face. Baer smiles, but sends a right to the body. However, he's in half a stumble to deliver, and Baer has not met the speed of a Johnson unless it was in a Tommy Loughran, an all-time great who beat him. At the center of the ring, Baer for the first time now wants to unwrap the big guns, but Johnson wants to move and move. Baer hooks hard to the head, lands but takes a good right to the head from Johnson. They exchange shots to the body. Baer again hooks to the head, one more hook to the head by Baer, and a light hook to the body. Johnson runs the left jab and crosses. Seconds only remaining in this round. Ruby Goldstein getting between them at the bell.
Round 5 was purely even, as Johnson, looking great, appeared to be a graphic illustration of boxing at its best, while Baer evened it up by winging away. Here's the bell, and here's Guy.
This is round 6, and Max Baer charges out very quickly. The small fake to the right, and there is a hard left to the mouth, and Johnson immediately seeks a clinch. In most fighters, the fake at the right will bring head counters, or the dash to the left. When Baer fakes right, Johnson often moves in this direction of the blow, but with great speed and out of range. The result has been to leave Baer with nowhere to go. Once or twice he stumbled, trying to get his timing back. Now they're broken up at the center of the ring and coming out fast. Johnson hooks quickly to the body, setting up Max for the right hand, and Max springs at the right, and there is a tie-up once again. With most fighters, even a Baer, timing is the thing, and offense is contrived in packages of 2-3 moves, and to be upset by the first response is to call upon a fighter's extra skill to get back in range. Out of ring center again, Baer loops a hard left to the body. Baer now with head held high gives Johnson the target, and Jack hooks hard to the head quickly. Baer tries to duck. He is quite successful. The blow is cushioned as Baer jerked head in, right hand partially blocked. But Johnson has the range on an uppercut and scores beautifully on the chin. Baer places a light right to the body. Johnson backs and flows to the right. Baer follows again at the body and hits with a hard, strong right. Johnson throws a good left to the head. Baer backs away. Johnson springs after him. Baer gets both hands up and blocks Johnson at both eyes, but Johnson lowers the hand quickly, and there's a hard right to the heart by Johnson. Baer has to step back, but he's back in again, winging at the head. There is a left and another left at the head, and there is a right at the face, and Johnson flies up the hands, finally to stop the onslaught of at least one hand in midair. And now they're wrestling around right over here near the microphone with Baer ripping the midsection hard. Another hard right to the midsection at close quarters by Baer, and finally the clinch is valid. Referee Ruby Goldstein moving in to pry them apart. Johnson will clinch often since his counterpuncher. The moment the opportunities become slim, he wants to go on to another scene. Jack Johnson, in a brilliant career, has KO'd and TKO'd 42 men. Baer has finished off 50 men that way, and therefore these are both extraordinary records, giving a good chance to reassess Max Baer in and out of his time. About 30 seconds remain in this round. On the break, Baer has the straight right to the head again. Johnson jabs and moves, sends another jab out and moves. I think he was hurt again a little bit by that straight right. Here's Johnson back, trying the left jab on the right cross. He scores. Baer wraps the head with the left. Johnson misses a straight left at the head. Baer fires a hard right to the body, left to the head, and Baer is calling on heavy shelling 2-1 with this round coming to a close. Again Baer, and there's the bell.
Baer jolted the big man from Galveston again in round 6. Johnson's vaunted ability to pick punches out of the air did stop one Baer flurry. And here's the bell, and here's Guy.
Round 7, Max Baer and Jack Johnson. And right at the beginning, Baer at long range wants the head. He hooks a left and right to the head, takes a right to the side, and immediately Johnson has perpetrated a clinch. They're out at the center of the ring wrestling as Ruby Goldstein speeds to the scene. We point out that Baer's powerful and more frequent punching may be giving him the edge. At the center of the ring again, Baer has decided to bomb once more from the top. And Max, staring straight at Johnson, loops left and right with real power to the body. Johnson stabs a jab and right cross in return. Johnson moving off his pivot foot a little bit now. Uppercuts the mouth once more. About the third uppercut he has scored within this fight. Baer rides his face along Johnson's glove and leaning against Jack's ribs right over our microphone. There is a hard right under the heart. A left to the body by Max. A good left to the head by Baer. And with Johnson retreating now off to the left, Baer follows, swinging high up ahead. There is a left to the head and a hard right to the mouth by Baer. Left and right to the head by Baer. Johnson only in a feeble return. Sends an uppercut again to the chin. With Max's hands flying overhead, Johnson now can only find a lower route to go offensively. But Johnson now is backing off with Max menacing. Johnson falls to the clinch. Baer was really throwing, and I do mean throwing. Referee Ruby Goldstein speeding to the fray and breaking the men apart. A little tough for Johnson to extricate his hands. Now out at the center of the ring again, Johnson jabs the head. Jabs the head once more, crosses the right again, moves away from Baer. Baer misses a straight right to the face. Johnson arches back again on the pivot foot. Max recovers and tries the left jab, mainly to give him his rhythm back. Baer dances up and down, taps his gloves together again for the rhythm, wipes his brow with the right glove. Johnson stabs and crosses again, but not getting the power there because Max is a little out of heavy shelling range and pulling the head backward a little bit. Johnson seeks the clinch again. Johnson is persistent, and again he ties, and this time an unwilling Max Baer. Baer has the reputation of being a knockout artist, and Johnson wisely will not allow Max to get used to a free swinging affair. Baer is regarded as responsible for the death of two men, Frankie Campbell and Ernie Schaff. Here is Baer with left and right to the top of the head. Baer, a picture-looking athlete with a back a mile wide, narrow hips, and finely welded legs. It is now about 30 seconds on the clock left to go. Johnson begins weaving those arms in front of Baer's face. Max backs away, moves to his right. Johnson keeps the poison brewing. Max takes a step forward. It's a fake. Johnson is not fooled. Max, with hand lowered, is not worried about Johnson's offense. Max hits with left to the body. Johnson hurries his left guard to the body opposition, and Max shoots the right there, and here is Max wailing away with left and right to the body at the bell.
Baer scored again in round 7, and according to our scorecard, is racking up a solid lead as Johnson just not been able to make points against him. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Right, Murray. The NCR computer is telling us that Baer can afford to gamble on a KO possibility. He has been knocked out only 3 times in his career. It is Johnson taking an early ticket in round 8. He hooks 2 quick lefts to the mouth of Max Baer, and there it is. There's his famous machine gun flurry to the face, neck, and chin, and he is raining blows on Max, who is falling back somewhat in jest rather than in pain, and he gives up as we do and falls into a clinch. At the center of the ring, Max tries a quick left to the head. Johnson faster on the counter, in, under, and up with a good left hook to Max's head. Max fires a right over the head of Johnson. Johnson sends a right to the body at swift a pace. Max swings a hard left to the body, and Johnson moves to the clinch. A pretty exchange for the second time, and the crowd thinks so too. Ruby Goldstein back in to separate the 2 big men. Now back out at ring center. Jack Johnson pulling up gear, suddenly stops, suddenly begins to circle again. There go the huge mitts around Baer's face, churning up and down, waving this way and that. Baer tries the left hand through the maze of gloves. It's stopped in midair by Jack Johnson, who invented the technique of placing the gloves against his opponent's gloves to stop the blows before they travel even 3 inches. His big palm held upright. Baer, plenty surprised. He's new to the scene. He dances back. Johnson follows. Here's a good hard hook to the head, catching Baer by surprise, and he misses the right to the body, but loops the big arm around Johnson's body and forces him to a clinch just over our microphone. I believe that Johnson's true greatness lies in his ability to move from boxer to puncher just like that and adapt quickly any variations in either of these categories at the drop of an eyebrow. At the break, Max swings a good hook to the body, but Johnson crashes 2 good chops to the head, and they were stronger and fires at the body as well. Baer is right back to take it accounting. Baer now has the left held straight out. He is in a deep, deep crouch, feinting and moving, feinting and moving. Johnson parrying the left, knocking it to the outside. Jabs once, jabs twice to the face. Max straightens up and moves back. Johnson must be hitting with authority. Max is giving him the wider berth and is not pulling any gags yet that I can tell you about. And then Johnson suddenly rushes forward with a stiff left jab. It finds part of Max at least. He was jerking his head to the side. Johnson is in at close quarters, wrapping the head with several hooks before Max can tie up the knot. Max Baer and Jack Johnson with seconds left to go, and on the break with the long left jabbing once, twice at Johnson. Max begins small steps to his right. Johnson again first parrying. Now rushes again at Max's headpiece. Here's a jab to the nose, and with little or no recoil. Johnson hooks twice and hard to the head. Max didn't like that at all. Johnson went to the double hook, and faster than I can recount. Max quickly at the body with the strong left, but Johnson ties him up at the bell.
Johnson had his best round of the fight last round. There's no question that it was all his as he landed at about a 2-to-1 ratio and jolted Max Baer. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Here's round 9. Jack Johnson and Max Baer in this bout faithfully computerized by the NCR 315. Each man judged at peak of his career at every offensive and defensive, plus and minus. Johnson breaking quickly, jabs at the mouth, crosses to the face, menaces Max. Max menaces him. They both laugh and fall into a clinch. We can all laugh now. Max Baer is one of the last of the modern fighters to have a 20-round affair. That was with the hard-hitting, dangerous Polino Uskadon. Of course, Johnson's bouts have been marathons comparatively, but at very slow and less elevating pace. Now back at ring center as Roby Goldstein completes his job. Johnson sets up shop again with legs 2 strides apart. Johnson moving to his left, gets good power and a left blast at Baer's head. Baer comes up with a right to the jaw. It was hard, and Johnson did feel that. He was moving toward Max's right as he hooked. Cassius Clay often does that, but Mr. Johnson did feel that blow. Max, who has the heavy, faster, and dangerous right, should not be tried in there. Johnson back on the pivot foot now. Baer is short with a left, takes a left jab, and right cross to the teeth from Johnson, and good-naturedly salutes Jack, backing away. But here he is, and gone is the good nature now, as Max's left comes blasting at the body of Johnson, and Jack was moving left, and he takes a straight right to the heart. Baer wings at Johnson with both hands, but Johnson parries and catches Max's left nearly at Max's head before it can fly, and he pushes Baer against the ropes and tries to hold. Max will not play. There's Max, and there's his good right to the heart at close quarter. Johnson with a short hook to the head. That was hard. Johnson backs off. Max is at long range. Max is a little slow in changing direction. He pitches a good left and right cross to the mouth. Now Max misses a curling right over the head. Jack hooks a hard left and right to the head. Baer pulls in for a moment. Taps his glove. Wings a shot at the body, which Johnson fails to catch, and Max appears satisfied. This exchange is no worse than even. Still no clinch. Max tries a little at the head. It's caught in midair. Johnson steps back quickly, lashes to the face. Max ducks. Max fires a good right to the body. Johnson stabs and lands on the nose. There's a right cross to the chops off Max, which doesn't seem to bother him, and there is a clinch finally. They move into a huddle, and referee Goldstein speeds across the ring to separate them. Now at the center of the ring, Max rips the body with a strong left and right, hooks a good left to the chin, a right to the mouth. Here's Johnson retreating, but he's beautiful with a fine left to the body in the retreat. And then, as if he turned his jet engines on the forward, he piles a hard left to the head of Baer. He crosses a right to Baer, but the left was a gem. It was a gem. Johnson seemed to fly in several directions at the same time. Baer again, though, gets in a good shot to the head, with several seconds only remaining in this round 9. Here's a left to the head by Johnson, a right to the face by Johnson. Baer back at the head at the bell.
The way these two big men are belting each other, it's a wonder no one's gone down yet. And both look uninjured at this point. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
This is round 10 as the NCR 315 computer brings alive a calculated match between Max Baer and Jack Johnson. At the center of the ring, big Max Baer goes to the offense immediately and bombs a left to the head, a right to the chin by Max Baer. And the Galveston Giant really has his head rocked from side to side as Baer dances away after that fine rally. Now here is Jack Johnson keeping away. Now he jabs to the face, jabs again to the face, jabs once more, lands a light jab on the mouth, puts a left to the teeth, and Baer, sure of his scoring, is very patient and willing to take. Baer moves to the clinch, but this time only to break the timing of his opponent. Referee Ruby Goldstein moves over to a neutral corner to our right and brings them back out to the center of the ring. By the way, Johnson, I have just seen, will be at long stride while he feints or waves his hands around in front of an opponent's face. But for many blows struck while on the move, his legs are shortened in stride for the punching power. Out of the clinch now, Baer in a traditional step apart at the legs when throwing for good power. But remember that he is a wide stancer when winging and belting in exchange. Johnson tries the body. He is short. He arches back. Max jabs and misses. Max hooks lightly to the head with both hands. Johnson rushes into the clinch, and referee Goldstein once more is summoned to take over at ring center. Back at the action again. There is the half circle this way and that with both men moving. Max again hooks a light left to the head. Johnson rushes as if to tie him at the hands, but suddenly the right is lowered and Max takes a hard right under the heart and a looping hook to the face, but not too hard. The key blow definitely at the body and everybody caught by surprise, but especially Baer, and Johnson dances off. He follows now, coming in again with a hook to the head. Johnson moving this way and that way, covers his head, and Max is at the body with a brutal left hook. There is another hard left hook, and that would have caved anyone else. Johnson now has to shake off the pain, and plenty of fog, you can believe that. He moves to the clinch and gets it. Referee Ruby Goldstein again takes him out to the center of the ring. Baer coming back to the attack, feinting the long left, moving Johnson a bit here, a bit there. Johnson only sidles now, slowly to the left, carries the left hand of Max Baer, but suddenly Max flies at the head again with a straight right. Johnson was seeking to cross Max and flee to his right, but Max was waiting, and here with Johnson caught up in the straight right, Baer booms left and right to the head, and there is another straight right to the forehead by Baer, and Johnson with hands held in defense and throwing only light jabs and crosses at the head is no match for this healthy giant, fighting at the peak and in the best shape of his career. Max at short range rips left and right to the head again. A left and right to the head by Max Baer. Johnson has to give ground, and Baer swarms all over him at the bell.
Max Baer shook Johnson twice in the last round, although taking a mess of light head shots. He's willing to take those to land his heavy artillery. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Thank you, Murray Warner. Here is round 11, and Jack Johnson and Max Baer move very swiftly out to the center of the ring. Johnson begins by stabbing at Max. Max comes back with a return left jab, fires the right to the body, and then takes a good hook on the mouth, and now they go into a clinch very swiftly. Was Johnson the finest boxer of all time? The only man equal to Baer's strength or stronger that he fought was Jim Jeffries. But Jeffries, a powerful hitter, was ring rusty at the time, and Johnson had a field day with him. Now back out at the center of the ring again. Johnson again back to the stabbing. Here's a left to the mouth, a right to the chin by Jack Johnson. Max, with hands up high, misses two hooks over the head. Johnson speeding to his task of overcoming a Baer lead on hitting, if it indeed exists. Swings back from the left to the head. Carries another quick left. Catches Max's right in midair and rushes to the clinch. And man, that was beautiful. That was level. Here's Ruby Goldstein, quick to the huddle to break the men up, not wishing to interfere with this new tempo set by Jack Johnson, who here in round 11 has found the second wind apparently. Johnson fakes the left hand on the right, throws the left. Max parries. He cannot land the shot, and Johnson's in quickly with a fine uppercut to the head. Max backing to the range he wants. Levels left to the head, a good right to the face, or left again. Johnson pushes two hooks this way and that way. Baer to the outside, fires his own excellent hook to the head, and Max is hurt by that. He tries to shake off the haze and finds cover. Johnson fires a good shot for the jaw, a good straight belt to the teeth as Max rushed for Johnson to get the clinch. Johnson is out of hooks. He runs away. Now he gets back, and Max finally does grab him around the neck to get the clinch and does temporarily suspend action at least. Ruby Goldstein swiftly out to the center of the ring, taps them briskly. Baer finds little or no advantage in the clinch. He is called upon immediately to be at alarm ready. Johnson is stabbing the face. Max and Johnson exchange jabs. Here's a momentary respite again. This is the match between Johnson and Max Baer. Johnson on the break, hooks over the head, dances away. Baer finds him with a good shot to the body. He blocks the left at the head. Johnson curls the left in for an uppercut, and Max with great direction rams the head of Johnson. Johnson is retreating as Max belts the head, racks the jaw, belts the head again, and in return takes a right left and a right thrust to a mouth. The action has been torrid. Max and Johnson out there toe-to-toe, hooking and landing to the head. Max landing several additional short shots on the temple. And as Max lands the right to the body, Johnson fires a hook to the mouth, and they stand out at ring center. Now they're wrestling this way and that. Johnson pumping at the body. Honors have been about even for the past half minute or so. And what a round this has been. There's the bell.
Both men's faces now showing the effects of all those headshots. Baer's face puffy, Johnson's left cheek swelled out. Amazing punishment by both men. Here's the bell.
This is round 12. Johnson still a top spinner. Jabs once at the nose, once again at the mouth. Puts a light left hook to the head, and Max is caught cold. He puts a light right to the body, and he goes into a clinch immediately. He wants time to think it over. Johnson lifted his sights the last round to Max's head and face. Where were the body shots? The computer says not there. Now at the center of the ring, Baer, with his roll in a little bit of doubt, tries a few feints at the head. But Johnson just rocks back on that heel of his and jerks out of any involvement whatsoever. Baer leaps to the head, lands a hook, not strongly, as Johnson is ducking under the taller man's branches. And again, Johnson is in range for the uppercut, but he just cannot land it cleanly, although he has landed it several times with modest effect. Baer now grabs him, and there's a huddle just over my microphone. Baer has looked down in my direction and winked. Apparently wants me to tell you he's having a ball. I wouldn't tell you that, and you wouldn't believe it anyway. Now the referee comes over to break up the clinch. Johnson is on his cycle, jabs the head, runs, jabs the nose, runs. Baer first runs after him and then stops, moves out a bit more, now puts a right to the body, a left quickly to the ribs, and he takes a barrage of jabs in the mouth and gains a clinch again. Baer sought to get Johnson winging at the belly, but couldn't get the sensational professional to tip. On the break again at the center of the ring, Baer opens up with a hard two-handed attack. There's a left to the head by Baer, another hard left and right to the head by Baer. Johnson fires his own right and left to the head, and they back away from each other. They both want breathers. Back out at the center of the ring, Ruby Goldstein didn't have to do anything just then. Johnson backs up. Baer is at the body again, a light right and left. Looking up at the smaller man out of his deep crouch. Believe that or not. Here's Baer with a light left hook to the head. Johnson misses, a left at the head, thrown hard. And Baer bangs the body again and again. Johnson is at the line and cushions the blow, but it backs away, dances off, jabs to the head of Baer. Baer follows with a left lightly to the body. Johnson hooks hard to the head. Baer straightens for the challenge, and next Baer and Jack Johnson now stand toe-to-toe, and again belt with left and right to the head, left and right to the head. Baer sliding back slightly, picks a spot at the body, loops a right there, takes a jab twice on the mouth, and both men now have retired for the present from the firing range, and they very much want to breathe long gasps of air. They simply have fought themselves out here in round 12. Here is Ruby Goldstein speeding to the scene. Now they center out, back to the center of the ring again, circle each other. Seconds remaining only in round 12. Here's a left lightly to the mouth by Baer, a light left to the head, and there's the bell.
Our unofficial scorecard shows Baer winning a few, a mess of even rounds, and Johnson only sure of one round to this point. If Jack's going to win, he's got to score heavily. Here's Guy.
This fight is to be fairly even at this point, I'm sure. There have been no knockdowns. They've been dented but not cut. The excellent condition of both men indicated in the persistent rhythm of the bout and the physical look of the two. Out at the center of the ring, Jack Johnson drives a straight right at the body. Drives a hook to the jaw. Max catches the body shot good and hard, yes, but smothers the hook to the face, and Johnson is off balance for the moment. Baer fires a straight right to the head. Johnson in retreat. Finds Max at the body, though, with a right and left. But the die is cast. Max has got him in the center of the ring, wailing away at Johnson. A left to the head, a right to the mouth by Baer. A left hook to the face, a right to the head, all by Max Baer. Johnson is swaying from the blow. He throws the left to the head, jabs twice to the nose, all in retreat. Baer is coming on. He has Johnson on the ropes. Here is a left to the body by Max, a left and right to the head by Max Baer. He steps back, shoots a right to the head, but he cannot down Johnson, who more slowly dances out of danger, and the crowd cheers both men. Johnson stopped nothing but bare leather in that flurry, but the crowd is awed by his stamina to take. At the center, Johnson is looking fussed by the storm he just weathered. He jabs to the face in defense. He dances wisely away, and Baer follows. Johnson ducks under a left at the head, and the same old uppercut to the mouth doesn't hurt Baer, so Baer comes on. He shifts the right to the body. He pounds the body hard with a solid shot. Johnson felt that and is backing up, now looking to clinch, but Baer is swinging hard at the body. He throws a left hook and a straight right. Johnson is in trouble. There is another right, and Johnson is down right here. Here is the count. 3, 4, 5, getting up now. 7, he'll make it. He is up at the count of 9. The crowd is going wild. Johnson down from a couple of rights, but it was the body blows that set him up. Referee Ruby Goldstein has them both out ring center, giving them an extra beat. Baer comes swarming in immediately, but Johnson ties him up. Johnson jabs the left to the mouth on the move. Baer whacks the body, but only softly. He misses Johnson at long range on the second try. And then comes swarming in, but Johnson ties him up neatly, and Goldstein is called into the middle once more. Seconds only remaining. Johnson jabs the face. Max follows and leaps forward again, but Johnson is away. Johnson showing excellent recuperative power. Johnson a bit more bravely now. Sends a left and right swiftly to the face. Jabs again to the face of Max Baer. Baer unperturbed, patient, waiting for his time now. He knows he can put this man down and feels he can put him out. Only seconds remaining. Baer fires a right to the ribs, and Johnson ties him up again. Here's Ruby Goldstein speeding to the scene. We've had torrid action all the way through round 13. And there's the bell.
Johnson took the best Baer had in round 13 and showed amazing recuperative power coming back after the knockdown. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
Johnson was down from a brilliant, speedy head attack in round 13. Now at the center of the ring, Jack Johnson jabs to the mouth of Max Baer. Baer takes, ducks another jab, is short with his own hook to the head. Johnson stops the hook in midair with the palms upright. Beautifully done, always is. Johnson flies away, speeding from the left to the body. Baer is, for the moment, like the rest of us, dismayed. Here is a guy he shot down moments ago, still fine. Johnson, who got up from a clean knock down by Stanley Ketchel to knock him cold a second later, is here and now phenomenally fast. Though still not as fast as Cassius Clay, no one would think he is if you saw him. But undoubtedly, Johnson is fast. Johnson jabs and hooks, not too hard. Johnson hooks the head. Baer crosses a retaliating hook to the head. Baer finds an opening, dynamites the head with a brutal left hand, and Johnson comes off his bicycle at once. He wants to rest in the deep clinch and dies. 1 minute gone in round 14 as Goldstein hustles for the job. Johnson is famous for his defeats of champion Tommy Burns, a smaller heavyweight. He also beat the Academy Award-winning actor Victor McLaglen and Sam Langford. At the center of the ring again, Max Baer opens up, hooks hard to the head. Johnson belts right along with him, strikes to the head. Johnson tries a hook to the head, misses, tries another hook to the head and misses that. And Baer in half a clinch hits the small headpiece of Jack Johnson with left and right. But Johnson is working the body over with two good shots under the heart. Johnson has been down in the previous round if you just joined us, but appears fairly secure here. At the center of the ring, both men trading left hooks to the head. Max belts the body fiercely, suddenly, and again Johnson can't get free. There's the trap. There's the left to the heart. There's the right to the chest. Johnson falling back. He's in trouble again. Johnson takes a wicked straight right to the mouth, and Johnson again is down, sitting on his pants across the ring. Let's pick up the count for you. He looks all right. 6, 7. He will get up at 9, but Johnson is down a second time. Baer wants to get at Johnson, who's moving behind Ruby Goldstein for proper and valid protection. Ruby pushes Max away. We're in the closing seconds of this round. Max throws a left over the head of Ruby Goldstein. Ruby violently pushes Max Baer away 3 steps and stands between Johnson and Baer. And Jack Johnson has gained invaluable time because of Baer's attempt to get in and hit him before Goldstein once and two. Baer now rushes at Johnson as Goldstein completes the break, but Johnson steps to his left and hooks to the head. Baer puts on the break quickly and moves to the clinch. Goldstein breaks them up immediately, and on the break, Max Baer immediately punishes the body, rips the left to the ribs, pushes Johnson away. He wants firing room for the big haymaker. A devastating right and left to the head. Johnson clutches for him and just manages to get him at the bell.
Johnson is obviously in deep trouble, down twice in the last 2 rounds, and his seconds have been working furiously to bring him around. There's the bell, and here's Guy.
All right, both men touch gloves in sportsmanship for this, the 15th and final round between Max Baer and Jack Johnson. Johnson is on his bicycle, shooting a left to the mouth, a left jab to the face. Max Baer menaces the right and then falls into a clinch with Johnson. He wants command of the action, and Ruby Goldstein speeds to the scene immediately. Now they back out to the center of the ring, and Max Baer restarts the action, hooking lightly to the left with left hand and expecting the right cross from Johnson. But Johnson is cautious. He takes and he dances away. Now Johnson feints with the left. Baer slips, does not throw. Johnson now moving from side to side very swiftly. He hooks a light left to the head, gets one back and turns. And Max also places a light right to the body. Johnson sees the opening. He dances in for the clinch. Referee Ruby Goldstein, who has worked in great style, is out to the huddle. All Hollywood is here. Max is the favorite of the movie capital, scheduled to do a motion picture with Myrna Loy. 1 minute has gone by in round 15. At the break, Johnson takes a series of lefts at the head lightly and returns the same compliment to Baer. Johnson, now out of deep pride nearly, attempting to prove the stamina and the speed by moving very swiftly afoot. Here is Jack Johnson feinting. Here is Max Baer missing the left over the head. Johnson looks ready to belt with the right, but gives up the chance. Both corners are on their feet shouting. Max is being implored to close with Johnson and bring the fight back to the slugging. Johnson leaps in, hooks the head, ties Max up. This fight is running into history. The big NCR 315 computer has held numerous surprises for us tonight. Johnson has apparently now abandoned the jab. It may leave his left hand extended with too little recoil power to strike at the head counters by Baer. Baer fires at the body, it's cushioned, but not completely blocked. Johnson fires a wicked hook to the body, and another submarine to the belly by Johnson. And Baer, winged by the body attack, is now fighting back. Max is at the head again with left and right at the head, all by Baer. Johnson has unleashed trouble for himself. Baer now, with Johnson slowed, rips the mouth and face with left and right. Johnson vainly tries the counter. Max is at him again with a brutal right to the head. A left and done. Another straight right to the face. Johnson weaving around. He's hit by another right, and Johnson is down. Johnson is down with only a little left in this round. Here is the count. 6. He will resume. He is going to get up at 9 and does. Referee Ruby Goldstein immediately springs out to the center of the ring to wipe off his gloves, and we're back to the action. Can Baer put him away? Johnson runs away on Max's charge, then fires a light left to Baer's body. Baer's got him on the ropes. The clock is heading to finale. Baer, ducking feeble blows by Johnson, is standing there just tearing Johnson's head to shreds. Left and right to the head by Max Baer. Johnson could fall again. He could fall again, but there is the bell. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Johnson just did weather an inhuman beating of the head by big Max Baer. I can hardly speak about this crowd. We'll have the official decision in just a moment. Stay right with us. Here is Murray Warner. Come in, Murray.
It's almost unbelievable. Max Baer, the man who came into this fight a 3-1 underdog, kept the pressure on from the opening bell, forcing Jack Johnson, one of the greatest heavyweights who ever lived, to fight a strictly defensive effort. And it's tough to rack up points when you're backing up. Baer just seemed to have too much artillery for Johnson, and certainly was at his absolute best tonight. And those sensational last 3 rounds, when the Baer blast dropped Johnson to the canvas, testify to that potent Baer punching power. Now, Paul Berman is in the ring. Let's get the official announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, the NCR 315 computer scores 9 rounds for Baer, 1 round for Johnson, and 5 rounds even. The winner, the Livermore Rounder, Max Baer.
Well, there it is. You heard it. The official result. And you can hear the crowd's reaction.
Now we'll be back in 1 minute with a recap of tonight's fight. Guy, it's a wonder you can still speak after 15 rounds of the kind of action that we had here tonight. These two look like a pair of middleweights, but those Baer bombs made the difference.
No question about it, Murray Warner. Baer came here to fight tonight and was, as you've said, at his absolute best.
And great he was. Johnson never appeared able to get set well enough tonight to throw many telling blows, as Max kept him moving backward all night long. Baer just kept boring in and throwing leather.
Now, let's take a quick round-by-round look at the action. Max Baer took command opening bell, forcing Johnson backward, taking nothing but light sticks, while landing effective hooks to both head and body. In the second round, Johnson counterpunched well, landing effectively to the head, while Baer varied his attack, moving to head and body. The round even, in our opinion, the third again Baer's, as he slammed effective lefts and rights to both head and body, and forced Johnson to take a purely defensive posture. Then the fourth round was almost a carbon copy of the third, as Baer just could not let up, forcing Johnson to throw all of his punches while backing away.
Johnson and Baer both seemed to take a breather in a relatively even fifth round, but Baer came slamming back in the sixth to take the round and forced Johnson on the defensive again. It was more of the same in the seventh, as Baer landed well to both head and body. Then in the eighth, we saw a flash of the Johnson brilliance, as he did pick those punches, slip past Baer's shots, and counterpunch, landing jolting shots of his own to the head. Johnson and Baer toe-to-toe it in the even ninth, both landing well, with Baer scoring well in the 10th.
The 11th and 12th were both even, with neither man really registering, and most of the punches both drew being of the light variety. But then, Max Baer, apparently looking to make this one of the really big Baer kills, really took off, winging those slamming rights and lefts, shifting from head to body, and he never gave Johnson a chance to really recover after the 13th round knockdown, and dropping Johnson to the mat in both the 14th and 15th rounds. There was really no question about it, as he almost turned his decisive point score win into a KO. He had Johnson badly hurt in each of the last 3 rounds, and his performance tonight in our computerized tournament must go down in ring annals as one of the major upsets of all time, ranking perhaps ahead of his own defeat at the hands of the Cinderella Man Jimmy Braddock when Baer dropped the heavyweight championship by a decision.
So that's the way it went. Baer defeats Johnson in a solid 15-round decision. And we'll be right back with more of our post-fight show. We've had some sensational endings in this first round of the all-time heavyweight tournament.
Next week's great match should be a milestone in the art of giving punches and getting out of the way. One of the greatest sluggers that the ring has ever known, the unbeaten Brockton blockbuster Rocky Marciano, matched against the master scientific boxer, the Fighting Marine, Gene Tunney.
The winner of this whole tournament could come out of this, Guy, and it could be either man.
Right you are, Rocky Marciano, and what a record he had. 49 fights, he won them all, 43 by knockouts. He simply outclassed everything in sight and retired undefeated. And that has to be every boxer's dream.
Tunney's record was almost as good, Guy. He lost only one decision in 76 fights, and that one to the sensational Harry Greb for the light heavyweight championship. Tunney is best known for beating the immortal Jack Dempsey. He also had 41 knockouts, had his opponents down 62 times. Oh, he also fought Greb back, too, and beat him 4 times. What a record for these two fighters. One loss between them.
By the way, our Las Vegas odds maker, Jimmy the Great Snyder, does make Gene Tunney a 7-5 favorite. And guess that's because he fought so many top names. Harry Greb, Georges Carpentier, Johnny Risco, and, of course, a couple of times with the great Jack Dempsey. But it's hard to see how Marciano could be an underdog in any fight. And Rocky fought some good battlers himself. Joe Walcott, Archie Moore, Joe Louis, Ezra Charles.
Hank Kaplan thinks highly of Marciano.
Marciano, of course, is one of the most aggressive heavyweight champions that we've ever had. Marciano can hurt you with either hand. He's a headhunter, and if he lands on your chin, chances are you're going down. Rocky never lets up. He has more determination, I would say, than any heavyweight we have ever known.
We asked Jack Kearns, Jr. how he thought that Marciano and Tunney would go.
I think that Rocky could move a little bit better on his feet than Jack could. And I think he could cut him off. The same way that Jack Dempsey, had he been in shape, could have licked Gene Tunney.
You think if Tunney could stay on his bicycle and avoid it, it might go 15 with
it would be a stinking fight.
He would run.
He would have to run from a Marciano. He would have to because he didn't have the weapons to offset Rocky.
We'll be right back with some more opinions on next week's fight in just a minute. Back at ringside at Miami Convention Hall following tonight's thrilling 5th fight in the first round of the all-time heavyweight tournament, where we heard Max Baer take an upset decision over Johnson, scoring 9 rounds for Baer, 1 round for Johnson, and 5 rounds even. Next week, another great fight, Gene Tunney and Rocky Marciano. You know, it's strange that only one fighter that we interviewed picked Marciano in this fight, and that was Joe Louis.
That type of fight would be a fight like Clay and Marciano fight. He'd be running as hard as he could run, as long as he could run. But eventually, I think that Marciano catch up with him.
Rocky Marciano himself has some very interesting observations on this computerized match.
I know him and I respect him. I have been many times described as a little bit of a Jack Dempsey and a little bit of a Gene Tunney, in that I fought like Jack Dempsey, but I trained like Gene Tunney. Gene Tunney has been given credit by many of the experts as being the best conditioned, hardest working heavyweights, a good thinking, very intelligent man in the middle of the ring. A truly great professional fighter.
How do you think you would have done with him?
I honestly believed I'd have beat a Gene Tunney, because in my prime, I was aggressive enough to walk through a good boxer. So I wouldn't want to box with him in the middle of the ring, because in the middle of the ring, he was the master with the jab and the cross and the fast combination of footwork and hand speed. I would definitely have to bull him or move him across the ring into a corner where I could do the most damage.
You know, Murray, that interview right there describes the fight better than any number of adjectives you could put together. Oh, what a fight this is going to be.
We'll be back in just 1 minute. Well, that's it from the 5th fight of the all-time heavyweight boxing tournament. In tonight's computerized fight, Max Baer defeated Jack Johnson, winning a decisive victory, taking 9 rounds to Johnson's 1 and 5 rounds even. Remember, Baer meets next week's winner in the quarterfinal round here at Miami Convention Hall on November 20th. And next week, same time, same station, it's unbeaten Rocky Marciano against that superb ring general, Gene Tunney.
Now, this is Guy LeBeau.
And Murray Warner. Thanks for listening, and tune in again next week.